Vanessa Scott, the founder and executive director of Love Never Fails.
Thank you guys. Wow. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Hi, girls. All my girls that I teach dance to are back there. I just love them so much. Oh, and there too. And I love you guys. I'm just so grateful to have you all here today. So I started to think about what I was going to share with you in the few minutes that I have. And what is on my heart is just how special this day is. It's a day where you and I have joined together and we're in agreement that there's a need to stand in the gap for the young people of our generation, to stand in the gap and pray for them and to speak encouragement into their lives, to help them to understand that they are the future mothers and daughters of our next generation, that they are the future doctors. They are the future politicians, law enforcement officers, clerks, and they have a purpose and a plan and a place in our community. One of the things that I was thinking about as I thought about these folks is on this street, there may be someone who has the cure to cancer, the cure to AIDS. There may be someone here that has the next American innovation. There are important, capable, valuable young people out here on these streets. And they need to hear that from us. I did a little bit of homework about Oakland and just the Bay Area as I was preparing for today. And I learned that some very famous people actually were born here in Oakland. Tom Hanks, Shamar Moore, Sheila Escovedo, Keisha Cole. Did you guys know they were born in Oakland? Okay, so some great folks have come from this town, but they came from very difficult circumstances. Keisha Cole, she was a foster child, her mother incarcerated due to drug addiction. Tom Hanks suffered a divorce, his parents divorced when he was a teen. Sheila Escovedo, a child to a dairy worker and a musician, very poor, actually jumped into an East Oakland gang to get some protection as a teenager. And I think about the commercially sexually exploited industry that we have today. And I think that those famous people would have been at risk for recruited as pimps, recruited as slaves, as sex slaves in this day and age because of their backgrounds. They would have been at risk for that. And so I ask you the question, what would your life be like if those folks weren't with us? If they hadn't contributed to our society what they had contributed as famous individuals, as accomplished individuals? What would our society be like if we didn't have a Keisha Cole or a Tom Hanks or a Shamar Moore? What if they were murdered, as two of our young ladies were recently murdered? What if Keisha Cole and Sheila E. were murdered in one of the hotels nearby, like Erica and Tiana recently were? Or what if they were missing, like Linnea Lomax? What if they were missing, like Sandra Lachey Francis Butler, who was abducted from Newark just here on July 10th? What then? Would that have an impact on your life? Making it more personal, what if it was your student, as it was mine, 15-year-old, who was one of my dance students, a beautiful young lady, a smart young lady, who was abducted, well, she was raped in Hayward, and she was manipulated and placed out here on the track for a year. Then would it matter to you if it was your student? Or even more personal, what if it was your own child, your daughter or your son, your niece or your nephew? Then would you be out here on these streets with me? Well, you're here today because you agree that we need to be out here on these streets, because we're not going to take this anymore. I thought about Denzel Washington also as from the standpoint of our young men, because I'm not just for the exploited, but I'm for the young man that's exploiting. And let me tell you why. Denzel Washington as you know, very accomplished actor. He was a troubled young man. His parents divorced when he was 14, and he said he was headed for a life of crime. And unless some men from the Boys and Girls Club came alongside him to mentor him, he said he would have gone to a life of crime. That tells me that there are some very amazing young men out here on these streets that don't have people that are sowing into their lives and speaking into their lives, and so they're turning to what they know. Maybe what they were raised up in. Maybe they have an uncle or a dad that's teaching them how to be an exploiter. And so it takes one of us to come alongside those young men as well and tell them that there's a new way, there's a different way for them to live their lives. And they don't have to be out there exploiting young ladies in order to make ends meet. So that's another element of my passion for young people. And I'm sorry, my papers are trying to get away. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is just a common statistic. The DOJ has told us that the average age of a person that is being sexually exploited in the U.S. is 12. In order to come up with that average, you must have an abundance of numbers at the age of 10 and some at 14. So, yes, we have 10-year-olds out here on this track. Yes, we have 10-year-olds out in Richmond, in Sacramento, and we have 14-year-olds, and it's just not okay. Would you agree? So I just want to say, every day our children, thank you, every day our children are taken from the malls and buses, from schools. It's becoming so prevalent because the laws are set up so that it is less risky and less impactful to those that are exploiting to exploit and sell young girls and young boys than it is for them to sell drugs. They can sell young ladies over and over again. They can only sell drugs once. They get 14 years in jail for selling the same amount of drugs as a couple of girls that they would sell over a year's time. And they would only get 3 to 8 years with our current laws. And that's why we're so passionate about Proposition 35 that will help us to change that. And I welcome you as we go through the day. We'll learn more about what that's going to do for us. But I really encourage you to vote yes on Proposition 35. So I've given you a lot of questions to contemplate. I let you know that Love Never Fails has contemplated these questions deeply, and we are committed to battling against fear, ignorance, and denial that immobilizes us, that keeps us from doing what is right. We are committed to protect, rehabilitate, educate, and pray for the young women and men that are enslaved in the life, and we won't sit until it stops. I am so glad to see your face today, to look into your eyes, and to know that you have decided, just as I have, to stand for the broken, for the abused, and to strive to bring justice to those that are not free to bring it to themselves. Thank you.